I spent my whole life working out and being one of the best built guys on the planet.
It's never been
What am I going to be now? Pretty much lost all my mobility and my quality of life had dropped.
You've been working with DDP.
Yeah, we've made a lot of progress.
When you look at old photos of yourself, do you see you?
Oh yeah, I love it. I really had it going on back then.
You know how many younger siblings have been put in the torture rack?
No doubt, it was a great finish. Once you're in the rack, there's no getting out.
You slamming Yokozuna.
It was a great moment.
You nailed the timing for you and Bret in the 94 Royal Rumble.
Credit Bret. All I had to do was catch him and go backwards over top rope.
How are you not in the Hall of Fame?
Good things come to those who win. If not, I had a great career. It would be a huge honor.
Whatever's next, we're all tuned in.
Thank you, Chris.
Lex, so good to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chris.
I can't believe we've never done this before.
How about that, huh?
Yeah, and you look fantastic.
Thank you. I feel fantastic.
So you've been working with DDP for the last
have.
handful of months.
Yeah.
So where are you at now?
Life-changing. We've made a lot of progress.
Yeah. Where did this journey with Diamond Dallas Page begin?
Well, we've been obviously friends for years.
Sure.
Through wrestling, but the latest journey started when I had taken a lot of falls, and I always wanted to get the most out of what I felt the good Lord gave me as far as recovery from my injury and function. I'm what Shepherd Center called like a 1%er, which is they're a world-class spinal cord rehab center. I spent 2 years there back in 08, 09 after my spinal cord injury, and I'm such a high functioning, they call me a high functioning quadriplegic. I had a cervical injury, which makes me a quadriplegic, paraplegic's waist down, quadriplegic's neck down. So all I was supposed to be able to do is move my head and shoulders, need 24-hour care the rest of my life, bathed, fed, clothed, round-the-clock care. And, I live independently, and I was able to walk, out of Shepherd initially.
Wow.
And but I was pushing the envelope on my ability and mobility and balance. I started taking a lot of falls, and it got to the point where they felt I was endangering. My neurologist at Shepherd told me, Dr. Bilski, goes, Lex, he goes, you're one of our miracles. But he said, if you keep on falling like that, you have to wear a helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads like a skateboarder. Or he goes, or you're going to have to use some mobility voices like a walker and a chair for safety and balance, because we don't want you back in here with a head injury, which they also specialize in. Because you've already been here for a spinal cord injury. We do not want you back in here with a head injury. So I said, okay. And I started using the mobility devices, but I kept on pushing the envelope on walking. I was taking some really bad falls. A miracle I didn't really have a bad injury. And so they finally convinced me to use the chair and walker more. And I had to admit to D when we got back together here recently, I got scared. It's hard to admit for us guys, but I got scared of some of the falls and what they tell me could happen. And I started sitting too much and like anybody else and not walking enough. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And I pretty much lost all my mobility and my quality of life had dropped dramatically. I saw D back at Sting's retirement match that we both were able to go to, and which was awesome. And I just said, hey, D. He goes, what? I go, think we could do maybe a little bit of work on, get a little more movement? I go, I'm pretty much just chair full time, man. And I'm having trouble just doing everyday stuff, from brushing my teeth to showering to, I go, my quality of life's dropped quite a bit. My energy levels, everything. So, man, it's all, D, right? All you got to do is tell him that. And he goes, brother, I've been waiting for you to come to me on this. So we went to work and we made an amazing progress that we're going to reveal to everybody. His incredible partner, Steve, and him are documenting, kind of filming it and the progress, and it's going to be pretty cool. I'm real excited.
So to be clear.
And thankful for what Dee's doing with me. He's taken our friendship was always there, but our friendship has grown. So he's a special guy.
Yeah, he's
best. He's a special guy.
And the great thing about Dallas is he cares more about others than he cares about himself.
Absolutely incredible.
He has such a gigantic heart.
Yep, he's an encourager, A+, man.
Yes.
God gave him the gift of encouragement. He takes it all away.
He told me that it roots back to a quote from Zig Ziglar he heard years ago. You can get anything you want in life if you help enough people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to be clear,
he's living it.
Yes, you do have a wheelchair. It's off camera, but you're sitting in a chair right now. Comfortably.
There you go.
Is this something you would have been able to do a few months ago?
Nope, not at all. Yeah, I was in the wheelchair pretty much full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
What's been the biggest change?
Well, everything from being able to stand up and brush my teeth instead of leaning over the sink, there's things we take for granted. Getting from my chair into the shower, my chair in the morning, your shower, you're going to the bathroom, you're brushing your teeth. When you're sitting, it's challenging, and even to safely get from your chair to a toilet or anything. So just everyday functional stuff. Heating my coffee up in the morning, I can stand up and put it in the microwave now. I couldn't do that. I was trying to reach. I was spilling coffee everywhere. So I mean, we were documenting it, but the things you think about when I go to the grocery store now, I have to wait, and my grocery store guys would know me, and they see me pull up, and they bring me out the power cart. Now I can get the power cart myself with stuff So I mean, everything. I can shop again. So I go on and on every day. If I could go through my day with you, my quality of life and my function is increased dramatically. So it's amazing.
I just love the zest for life that you have. Like, you just have this real energy about you, and it's very clear that you're grateful for what you have.
I am. I do a post on my only social media at Genuine Lex Luger. I'll give it a plug if you don't mind.
This is on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, people ask. I have a little Twitter account, X account, and I do it all myself. People, you have a guy do that? No, and every day I put another day, thank you, Lord. Psalm 118:24, which is, today is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So I'm thankful for every day, and I just want to make the best of it. So yeah.
Are you looking to get to a point where you can walk again?
Oh yeah. Now I need to use devices sometimes for safety on longer distance, but I'd like for shorter term walks and stuff. I'd love to get back at it again. It's like if I park my car, I want to go in the restaurant with my family and friends and stuff, instead of getting the wheelchair out of the car and the big production with that, I'll be able to, get out of my car and walk in the restaurant, sit down, have a meal, and walk back out. That would be huge.
Did this feel impossible a few years ago? The idea of standing up again, the idea of possibly walking again? It
did. I'd gotten scared and discouraged with the walking and all the falls I was taking. So I had really pulled back and was pretty much relegated, and had come to the terms that maybe I'm just going to be in the wheelchair the rest of my life. So I was going to make the best of that, but still to have this gift that by working with Dee, and a gift from God, I think, to be able to get this increased mobility again, I think is very exciting.
Your story is so interesting because it wasn't a car crash. It wasn't an accident. It was a freak accident, right? And for people who don't know, walk us through exactly what happened.
I'm headed to San Francisco for an appearance. I had to get in that one last heavy workout and shower and run to the airport for overnight, like a red-eye flight from Atlanta into Frisco, left at like midnight or something. So I got a heavy shoulder, trap, and neck workout, which they say may have been a factor, might not. So that was my last heavy workout ever. And I was on the airplane sitting. I was talking to somebody next to me. I had my head turned right after that workout. And when I turned my head back, this is just my theory. The neurologists aren't sure this had anything to do with it. But I kind of feel like it did. And they think it might have. I turned my head back to the front and I had this burning, stabbing pain between my shoulder blades. But, football, wrestling, we get aches and pains, a little pinched nerves all the time. So I was like, oh, boy. I go, man, that didn't feel good. That didn't feel right. I got to the hotel. I checked in, and I woke up. I'm not sure what time it was. It was just pre-dawn, and I had the worst burning, stabbing pain in my lower neck, shoulder blade area. Unbelievable. And it was so bad. I'm a side sleeper. I was on my side towards the nightstand, and I was trying to get to a phone. And so I figured maybe I'd get to the phone like a seal, hit it with my nose. I didn't know what. I was in so much pain. I fell off the bed down to the floor. And when I was on the bed, I actually felt like I was in a metal, you know those old metal diver suits you see in the metal helmet?
Yes.
From back in the mid 1900s?
Yeah.
I felt like I was in one of those suits and there was magnets pulling me from underneath almost through the mattress. I didn't know what being paralyzed felt like. And so I could move my head and shoulders, but that threw me off the bed. Now I was up against the nightstand with my chin down to my chest, and I didn't know this either. When you have a cervical high spinal cord, it affects your breathing, which didn't help my breathing. My breathing was already compromised, so I thought I was going to suffocate. So now I'm up against the nightstand, can't move. I feel like I'm being pulled by a magnet through the floor now, and I feel like I'm suffocating. I thought that was it. And I tell people this, and the Lord came into that room, man, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. I was a brand new believer. I didn't even know I had a verse memorized in the Bible, but Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not upon your own understanding. Acknowledge me in all your ways, and I'll make your path straight. It was so calming when I felt like God was actually almost speaking to me. I didn't hear a voice or anything, but that resonated so much to me that my breathing calmed down and my heart rate. And I laid there probably for hours until they came for my appearance. When they answered the door, they had to knock my door down.
Wow.
I locked my door. I usually don't put of course, I put this extra lock on my door, which I don't normally do. Say the drama, I always have, I'll tell you, I have a life of drama.
So are you screaming to them like, I can't get up?
I couldn't scream because my breathing was compromised. I can't believe the guy heard me. He's knocking on the door. I'm like, help. That's all I could get out was help. And, but they knew when I didn't open the door and it was locked, I had to be in there. So that's when they called the 911. They came in and bashed my door down. And who's there? Go back to now let's go full circle back to DDP. Who's there out in Frisco for the appearance I was at as well? DDP comes into the room. And he convinces me, I wanted the medics. They had picked me up off the floor and set me in a chair in a hotel room. I'm paralyzed back down in a chair. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I think I'm dehydrated maybe. And D looks at me because, Luke, you gotta go with these guys, man. This ain't dehydration, bro. You know, he's a Jersey boy. Hey, bro, this ain't effing hydration. You need to go with these guys. So they took me downstairs. The medics were big wrestling fans, a guy and a girl. And they looked at each other. I see, I'm laying there. I can't move up, but I'm listening to them. They go, guys, where do we take them? And they're naming these hospitals, and they're like this. And they go, Stanford, which is like almost an hour from the airport. The guy goes, oh man, we might get fired if we do that, but let's do it. They drove me all the way to Stanford, which is a world-class medical facility. They were unbelievable, ran every test you could possibly do. Yeah. Even they, once again, getting back to your original question, I've given you a really long answer.
This is great.
But they said it could have been the workout. It could have been, we saw a little bit of stenosis, nothing from your wrestling and football career that necessarily made this happen. We see this in people all the time that never did sports or any high collision stuff. We put it in a category, kind of like a category we don't know what you have or what caused it, transverse myelitis, swelling of the spinal cord, massive swelling from C5 down to T5. And that's lights out. From there down, that's it for the rest of your life. Because when they were telling me my prognosis a few weeks later when I got to Atlanta, which was an unbelievable story, how I got to Atlanta, there weren't any planes to get me there. I got to Atlanta and Shepherd Center, which is a world-class facility right here in Atlanta where I was living at the time, which is a miracle. They put me in room 316, John 316.
Yeah.
I go, I must be in the right place. The two nurses that greeted me were Grace and Hope. When I came into the room, their name tags, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. If you were so defined.
Divine intervention, Chris. I'm telling you, man.
It's an incredible story.
All right, quick timeout. There's a good chance that if you're watching this, you have a subscription that you no longer use. I just learned that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription that goes unused every month. Thanks to Rocket Money, that is no longer the case. With Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore. I do this and now I'm saving money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money will also help to try to negotiate your bills lower for you. So whatever you pay for your cable or internet or cell phone bill, they'll actually go in, they'll chat with customer service, and what you get is a lower bill. They handle all the hard stuff. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/CVV. That's rocketmoney.com/CVV.
If you were so defined in your wrestling career by your body, how difficult is it to be defined now by what your body can't do?
Well, I focus on what I can do rather than what I can't do, of course.
I love that.
I call it my mentor says, Lex, you got to be a windshield guy. What do you mean? Don't be a rear view mirror guy. There's a reason those rear view mirrors are so small. Don't be looking in there. Look out horizon. Be a windshield guy. So I would say I'm a windshield guy. So I'm moving forward, man. There's a great quote we talked about earlier about MLK that you can't fly, run. You can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep on moving forward. And if I need a chair, I'm going to roll. I'm going to keep on moving forward, Chris.
Where did this mindset come from? It'd be so easy to go, I can't believe this happened to me. I can't believe this. Instead, you're looking forward and going, look at all the things I'm able to do.
You know, Chris, I had my moments right after it happened. They used to come in the morning and lay a Bible on my things. I couldn't hold anything, read anything. They'd tilt my bed up. I'd open up the Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust the Lord with all thine heart, one of my life verses. Lean on upon your own understanding. I'm like, Lord, I don't know why this happened. You know, I was really questioning God. I spent my whole life, as you said, working out and being one of the best built guys on the planet, one of the strongest. Well, I'm like, what kind of representative of the kingdom am I going to be now? Paralyzed from the neck down. You know, I felt like I was a useless sloth, and all my muscle mass was disappearing. Because when you're paralyzed, it's like being in a body cast. If you have your arm, if you broke your arm, Chris, in a body cast, you got good sized arms. Your arm, when they take the cast off, it's like there's nothing left.
Right.
And that's what happened to my body over a period. It was almost kind of, looking back, kind of comical. All that never miss a meal, you know, that whole mentality. 8 meals a day, get my protein, wake up in the middle of the night and pound a protein shake so I don't get catabolic. Within 3 or 4 months, 100 pounds of muscle mass was gone.
Wow. What did you weigh at your heaviest?
295.
And what did you weigh at your lightest?
175.
Wow.
I lost almost 100 pounds of muscle mass very quickly.
Yeah.
I remember when it hit me, they used to take me out of the bed. They'd lift you up with a net, like Peter Pan, and put you in your chair for rehab every morning, take you down to the rehab center. And they lay you in this big elevated mat on a table. And they move you around, because even though you can't move, they move your limbs around, stretch you, and try to keep some movement in there that they're doing for you.
Yeah.
And my shower in my room was being used by one of my roommates. They had 4 guys in a room back then. So the tech took me down the hallway, and I went by a mirror, and I saw this really skinny looking guy. So I had my shirt off and everything. I go, man, look at that skinny guy. And legit hit me. I went, gosh, that's me. I hadn't seen myself in a mirror. I'd lost over 100 pounds of muscle. I looked so emaciated. I was like, oh. You know, I had a point, though. I had a real Eeyore time for a couple of days. And the chaplain at the Shepherd Center noticed it, because he goes, Lex, what's going on, man? I go, I'm having a little Eeyore, some Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh moments. And he goes, man, Lex. He goes, I feel like, what do I do now? I mean, what's my purpose? But I mean, look at me. And he goes, man, Lex, he goes, you realize that, I didn't realize this, 80% of spinal cord injuries are young men, 14 to 24. Wild, reckless, four-wheelers, motorcycles, diving, jumping, you know. And he goes, all those young guys in there, time frame wise, he goes, grew up watching you. Because when you come in that room, because I wonder, why am I here? What do I have to do now? What am I going to do? And he goes, when you come in that room, every eye's go on you, all those young boys. who haven't had the chance to live a life like you lived. He goes, what an opportunity to witness to them by how you handle yourself in there. If you stay upbeat, you lift the whole room up. I said, God, thank you. I still have a purpose. And right here in this room, right here, right now, right?
Yeah.
For these guys, it's not about me feeling sorry for myself. I can be uplifting to them by how I set the example. If Lex can handle what's going on, then maybe I can too. So it gave me a purpose right away. And I said, Lord, I don't know how to live this way, but I go, either bring me home or show me how to live this way. And he opened that opportunity up for me through the Chaplain of Shepherd that I still have he still has a purpose and plan for my life this way, rather. It kind of became a blessing in disguise, Chris. It kind of like God got my muscle suit out of the way because that was like a false God to me, almost an idol. That's what I thought about almost 24/7. And for it to be useful to God's purpose for my life and to be an encourager for others, I almost had to get my own selfish interest out of the way so I could be a light and an encourager for others. So in a way, my injury was a real blessing. Faith
is such a big part of your life. What would this accident look like if you hadn't found God beforehand?
Sting says, he said, I would have committed suicide.
Wow.
My best friend. Because if you hadn't been a believer before that happened, he goes, the old Lex, 2 Corinthians 5 said, we're a brand new creation in Christ. So I'm a brand new creation. He said, if you hadn't been born again at that point, he goes, the old Lex, everything was about you, your body, your workouts. He goes, you would have ended it.
When you look at old photos of yourself or old clips, do you see you?
Oh yeah, I love it. I had my moment as the muscle guy, and I look back. I embrace all the, you get a point like there's a grieving process. I grieved the old Lex for a while, but they say in the point of grieving, sometimes you're sad and crying, and then you're angry sometimes. But you get to a point where you start thinking of the good moments. Or if your mom or dad passes away, you get to the point where you're healing and moving forward. When you start seeing things that trigger memories of your mom or dad or something that make you smile and are positive thoughts. That's sort of the process I went through. I was kind of grieved the old Lex for a while, the old muscle suit guy. And then after that, I knew I was through it when I could look back at those photos and think, wow, look at man, I really had it going on back then. That's kind of how I look at it. I'm proud of it and how I trained and ate and all that stuff, but I actually still go to the gym, still love go to the gym every day and do a little something. Not what I could do, and I'm thankful for that. But and sometimes I go, man, I wish I see some guy doing some heavy sets. Yeah, I miss that a little bit, but I'm glad I can do something. So that's kind of the process I went through on that.
DDP was saying like the old Lex never would have been like this. Like you were difficult to deal with. All you thought about was yourself.
Definitely.
What was the shift? Was it talking with Sting and becoming a believer, or was it something before that?
That was the biggest part. Obviously, my transformation was my walk, having a relationship with God, being born again. So that was the big transformation. A lot of things happened instantly for me in that transformation. All of a sudden I didn't cuss anymore. I didn't even realize you don't cuss anymore. I'm like, gosh, you're right. So there's things that are supernatural that I didn't realize, but it's also a process as we go along. And the old Lex still tries to pop his head up now and then. There's three things we battle as a believer is the worldly world. That's very alluring. We all want to follow the wide path of Bible calls it destruction and chase after all the worldly things that are out there. And they can be very alluring. Nice stuff, nice cars, no houses, all that. Satan, of course, he's real. And then our own flesh. That doesn't leave us till we take it home to heaven. So we still have the flesh, so we still can be prideful or selfish sometimes. But the Holy Spirit that lives in us that we receive upon salvation helps right the ship on that. So we've got that as our helper. So Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So that's really the main component. But then also, I feel there's that mental, physical, the physical, staying in shape and doing what you can do and enjoying that, right? That ties in with it. I can't do what I used to do, but I keep my weight. Like I can only eat like 25% of the calories I used to.
Wow.
And man, Chris, I love to eat. They go, oh, you won't have to, you'll lose that big appetite. No. So I have to really start out with, I'm still a carnivore and love all the protein and everything, but I have to, I'll order big, sometimes I'll only eat part of it and save the rest for later or something. So I have to really adjust, I had to really adjust my nutrition because my metabolism is way slower now because I don't have the big muscle suit. That was a big adjustment, but I still want to stay trim and healthy. The doctors, my blood work, I have no medications, which what I've been through at my age in my 60s blows people's minds.
Yeah.
I'm on 0 meds.
Wow.
They go, what medications are you on? I go, none. They go, "Nah." And the lady with her glasses, the doctor, I go, you're on no meds? I go, she goes, well, wow, the Lord's been good to you. I go, hallelujah.
Wow.
And all my blood work, everything's phenomenal. So I'm really, I have mobility challenges, but my health is excellent. So I'm thankful for that. I attribute it to eating healthy still and not letting myself get, if I ate what I wanted to, I tell people I'd be like a beach ball. I wouldn't need that wheelchair even to get around. They could just roll me around because I love to eat, man. So I'm a Buffalo boy. We grew up on chicken wings and, blue cheese dressing. And,
I was just on the other side of the lake. I'm from Toronto.
There you go.
I feel you.
There you go, yeah.
Who was the total package?
Well, that was a heck of a nickname Dusty Rhodes gave me, the American Dream. I was in the back, and he goes, I want you to be the, I can't do a Dusty, but the brains.
Like everyone can do it.
He goes, I want you to be the brains and the brawn and the beauty. Because I want you to have the look, the brains and the look. And he goes, I want you to be the total package, baby. So he came up with that nickname, and he came up with the finish, the torture rack. Because he thought it showed my body and my abs. It wasn't an easy finish to execute on a lot of guys, but it turned out to be a really good finish for me. So yeah, he said, I want you to just be the total package. And of course I had mentoring from Nature Boy Ric Flair on that early on, as far as that persona. And a lot of people said back then, the old Lex took to that pretty easily, as far as thinking he was a total package. Eric Bischoff, who him and I have become really good friends. People thought we hated each other, but we love each other now. And Eric Bischoff said, Lex thought he was the I'll use Carney, she is it. And he said, and he made people believe him. He may have not been the greatest interviewer or worker in the ring, but Lex had an aura about him that he thought his, didn't stink. And he goes, that came across on camera and in front of people. And he said he believed he was the total package. And I did.
You know how many younger siblings have been put in the torture rack because of you?
No doubt. It was a great finish. Hey, it's still on the 2K game rated so high because once you're in the rack, man, there's no getting out.
How are you going to get out of it?
Outside interference. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly you slamming Yokozuna.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I'm Canadian, but I remember watching and being like, this is the most American thing I have ever seen. It's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
You're on the USS Intrepid. There was just so many things about it. It's like, this is Americana right here.
It was a great moment for sure. I was actually petrified coming by the time I got the Intrepid because they flew me on a helicopter, and I've only been in a helicopter ride once before in my life. And I'm not scared of heights or anything, but I had this ex-Vietnam combat pilot flying the helicopter in, and we were there with no belts on, nothing, in this helicopter with open doors. He was tilting and showing off on the way in. I'm holding on for dear life. And then I go to the ring, and they threw Bobby at me. I didn't know Bobby was going to meet me. He was my heel manager as a narcissist. So Bobby comes up to me, and I'm like, hey, Bobby, as I'm walking to the ring with Yokozuna. Bobby goes, push me. I go, what? He goes, push me, you stupid SOB. I go, oh, I shoved him because I didn't know Bobby was going to, meet me partway down, like trying to stop me from going to the ring. And, but I got in the ring and I had cowboy boots and I had no footing. So I get nose to nose with Yoko, and we go nose to nose. We're supposed to be trash talking, but I'm telling Yoko, we can't do it, man. I was panicking. I got no footing. Yoko actually was a cool as ice Samoan brother. We call him the Dancing Bear. He was so agile for a guy 600 pounds. He goes, looks at me and the nose goes, "No problem, brother." He goes, "Just get a wide stance." He goes, "I'll do the rest." Yeah. So I tell people, "You look so excited afterwards. You knew you were going to slam him?" I go, "Well, I was hoping." We did a walkthrough, but I'd never slammed him. They didn't want me in the walkthrough to hurt Yoko. I'm like, I called him Yoko. And I go, "Hurt Yoko? What about me? I'm going to get double hernia trying to slam the guy." So, but we did it live first time in that ring. So I was really nervous with no footing. Yoko just pushed himself around me. I had to help turn him. And that ain't easy.
Yeah.
So I played a part, but I tell people I was so excited afterwards, even though I knew I was supposed to slam him because I was so happy it came off. I go, Yoko basically slammed himself. He was that agile. He got on me and flipped himself off of me by getting a wide stance.
Well, and he runs off the turnbuckle, gets some momentum.
If you watch him put his hand on me and start to turn himself and everything. He's an unbelievable athlete. One of the best big men ever. He doesn't get credit for that. One of the best big men ever.
Did you not think it was possible even leading up to it? Like cowboy boots aside, did you just...
I thought if I had footing, I was freaky strong. Sting called me Herman Munster. For my feats of strength in the gym. So I looked like a body, but I was strong.
Freaky strong.
Yeah. So I trained with a world-class powerlifter named Don Reinhardt. He was a world record holder for like 10 years in high school and college for football. So I was like, I always had that tendon ligament. So for a guy that looked like a bodybuilder, I was really, really strong in the weight room.
Is there a path?
I had some big lifts.
I had a friend recently that was telling me he loved watching things on the WWE network. And I said, "That's great, but I think you mean Peacock." And he's like, "No, the OG WWE network. It's still available in a handful of countries. And when you use a VPN, like today's sponsor, NordVPN, you can watch it like the good old days." NordVPN allows you to change your virtual location with just one click, so you can access content from 59 different countries. You can do it on either your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever it is, and it's super fast. And NordVPN protects you when you're logging in to public Wi-Fi. This happens a lot when I'm traveling. You know, public Wi-Fi is notorious for being a hotbed for hackers to jump in there and steal your data, but NordVPN protects you and gives you peace of mind as well. And check out the exclusive deal they have going on right now when you go to nordvpn.com/CVV. Yeah, less than $3 a month plus 4 extra months on top of that. And there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So give it a try. It's nordvpn.com/CVV or just click that link down below.
Is there a path in your life where you could have ended up being an NFL star?
You know, I went out of college early. I kicked out of Miami. That's a whole other story. How do you get kicked out of the U back then? I managed my roller coaster life.
Nobody gets kicked out of the U.
No, I did. And I nickel and dined them to death. And my behavior. And I went early pro 19 up in Canada. Because back then you had to wait till your class graduated from the NFL. I would have had to wait 2 years with no football. So I went up to Canada. I made the team, which was a miracle. I think I was the youngest Canadian at that point ever. American football player. Because I didn't know there's only 15 Americans per team. Only a couple at your position. So I was like, oh my gosh. But I made the team. And I ended up playing a Grey Cup my rookie year.
Wow.
Yeah. Warren Moon was the quarterback, and Edmund Eskimos, we lost, but I got to play in a Grey Cup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a path from there where you could end up being, it was the Packers, right?
I went to the Packers, got injured, and then USFL came about, and Green Bay was freezing cold, even from a Buffalo boy. The temperatures there are way colder than Buffalo. Buffalo gets the snow, but Green Bay was, my rights were owned because I went to Miami by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so everybody always called me the negotiator. I called Tampa. I asked Bart Starr if I could be released, and because I felt like maybe I had other opportunities better elsewhere. He was such a nice guy, and I went down and signed with the Tampa Bay Bandits. I had the ball coach Steve Spurrier there. Then I got traded to the Memphis Showboats, who had Pepper Rogers, which are such fun coaches to play for. But then after that, when I was in Memphis, that's where I got interested in wrestling. I didn't grow up watching wrestling. And in Memphis is a wrestling town, man. Jerry the King Lawler, and what a history there. Everybody who's ever wrestled has gone through there. And everywhere I went, they all thought I was a pro wrestler because I always had the physique.
Yeah.
The pro football players in the locker room always said, "Lex, what are you doing playing football with that body you have? You should be in movies or or in pro wrestling or something, you don't even look like a football player. So I looked into pro wrestling in the off season. After Memphis ever thought I was a wrestler, well, I might as well look into it. I walked in the office at Championship Wrestling in Florida. I was living in Tampa still from my time with the Bandits down there, and they took one look at me, introduced me to Hiro Matsuda, who trained Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Hulk Hogan. Matsuda took a liking to me. I was in the ring 4 months later and never went back to football.
Wow.
So could I maybe played on and had a long football career? Yes, but it worked out a lot better with the wrestling.
But I'm so fascinated in life.
Which is crazy, right?
It's so crazy. I'm fascinated when this thing happens that leads to this thing. If you don't get injured, you keep playing football, likely, right? Maybe you find wrestling later, but it's interesting.
I don't think I ever would have wrestled because I didn't grow up watching wrestling.
Huh.
Even when I wrestled, I was a wrestler who really didn't like wrestling, but I wrestled. I thought wrestling fans were out of their minds. I've come to love them. They're so fanatical. And we're like a family. At a point in my life when I thought I was unlovable, they showed me love.
Mm.
So, I mean, wrestling fans are special.
Yeah.
But at the time I wrestled, I used to try to almost avoid them and coming through the back of the hotels. And so I'd have to walk through the lobby and because they were all right after you. And I thought, these fans are crazy. But they're crazy good.
Yeah.
So I learned, and now I'm a wrestling fan. I like to watch it. I like to watch the pay-per-views and some of the shows. So I went from being a wrestler who wasn't a fan to a retired wrestler who is now a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After slamming Yoko, you go on the Lex Express. Did you enjoy being on the Lex Express?
You know, they portrayed it a little bit. My family was upset on the A&E special. They made it look like I didn't enjoy myself. We had a great time on that tour. It was judiciously edited by Bruce Prichard to make it look like Lex wasn't the guy and he didn't have a good time. They took excerpts on that A&E and made it look like I was healing on people during the tour. And I wasn't upset. I go, they're just spicing it up. I said, they're just throwing some stuff in there to tell their story. So it didn't bother me at all that they put that stuff in there. Like for instance, they would show me like acting like I didn't get a suite at the hotel and I was making a big stink. I was joking around with the camera guys and the desk people. But they made it look like on the A&E, but you could portray sort of that I was throwing a hissy fit because I didn't get a suite at the hotel, which was not what happened, but that's what it looked like on the A&E. But I was laughing. I thought it was funny. So, yeah, but they actually did a really good job on that.
What do you think your legacy in the ring is?
Well, I don't know. I think, I feel like I had a 15-year really active 86 to 01. I figured it out one time. I used to run out of wrestling matches every year. My contract was 275.
275 matches?
A year. And I used to run out by November. They'd add in more events. So I wrestled over 300 matches a year. Times 15, that's almost 5,000 matches. And I guess you wouldn't know it looking at me now, caught up with me, maybe, but I was very durable. People don't realize that part of the reason I got switched back and forth so much was Eric Bischoff said this as well. I always knew Lex could handle being a top heel or like a top 5 babyface. I knew he could walk that line and keep and stay authentic with the fans. Might not have been best for his career long term, Eric said, switching back and forth. Because everybody's like, oh, here goes Lex again. He goes, but you could be an arrogant heel or a confident babyface because you could pull it off. That's a rare thing. Most guys are either a really good heel or a really good babyface. He goes, you could almost walk the line. So whenever we got an injury to one of our top 5 heels or babyfaces, they would switch me. If you look back in time, like when Sting got hurt one time really bad with his knee, they switched me babyface in my match with Flair. And I kind of took Sting's spot as a top babyface. So they were always moving me back and forth. So I guess versatility, I guess I was like I think Eric put it, I was like a utility all-star. They could put me wherever they needed me to be and I could still perform for the company. He said that made you a very valuable asset for us because you never got hurt.
Yeah.
I missed a few matches with torn bicep tendon right at the very end. I missed like 3 months, but I never missed a match for almost 15 years.
I think another part of your legacy is just the way you looked. Like especially during that era?
Well, there's been a lot of good physiques. Tony Atlas back in the day. And
that Warrior during that time as well.
Oh, yeah.
But the way...
To maintain it for 15 years.
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't easy. I used to say to myself, Gus, did you like, being that? I go, well, I loved looking that way, but it was a high maintenance persona. I go, my body was my costume, so I had to stay tan, work out, eat right. I go, sometimes I wish I had done maybe been the pizza man, walked to the ring with the pizza box eating pizza and with torn up clothes or something. I go, would have been a lot easier. I go, when we travel, we'd fly to a different city back then every day. And all the other guys would go to the hotel and sleep until they went down to the building. Most of the guys.
Yeah.
Steiner Brothers and Sting and I would travel a lot, like in WCW. We'd have to rush to the gym and get a tan and then go almost right to the building every day. So it was a high maintenance type of persona, So, but I guess that's part of my legacy of maintaining for 15 years, kind of in wrestling terms, a world-class physique,
body guy,
so to speak. Yeah,
that's the wrestling
absolutely.
Term. You're a body guy.
So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
How did you
durability and staying in top shape for 15 years? Never. I dare some of you find in the 15 years where I looked really bad.
It's true.
Even when I was with Vince, when we were drug tested, like sometimes 5 nights in a row, I was clean the whole time I was with WWE. I lost about 20 pounds, but I still looked very fit.
I don't think people believe that. Like that.
Yeah. Oh, we were legitimately tested, and I was clean the whole time.
What span of time would that be?
I was there, 93, 94, 95? If you look closely, I was down to about 245 pounds. I was usually 265, 270.
Oh, wow.
I was about 20 pounds less muscle, but on camera, when you're lean, you almost look bigger. If you look at like Eddie Guerrero, I don't know what he weighed, but he didn't weigh a lot. But he when he got really ripped, he looked big.
He also had a bicep vein that looked like a snake in his arm.
Well, when you're ripped and you're lean, you look bigger on camera. So even at WWE, when I was clean the whole time I was there, some people didn't believe, but I was. And because when I was in high school, man, I was built. I mean, once again, I give God the credit. Now, God gave me great genetics. So when I started lifting weights in high school, heck, I was benching 400 pounds within like a couple months.
Wow.
I never touched the weight. So, I mean, God gave me that gift of having that type of physique, even without any kind of PEDs at the time.
So clean in WWE, but not clean in WCW?
No, I was on some PEDs then. Maybe both before and after. Now, towards the end of my career, I switched over from, like, you can see I was huge. The Road Warriors, that era of wrestling was more testosterone and Diana Ball and whatever. And then towards then I was clean, obviously, with WWE. And then towards the end, the baseball players and all them brought in a little bit of the growth and test.
Yeah, growth hormone.
So really, the last few years of my career, when I think maybe I looked my best, was on a basic, what you'd call for older guys, I'm an older guy now, but a lot of older guys take a little bit of testosterone and growth hormone.
Like TRT.
Right.
Testosterone.
And I was on a shot of test a week and a little bit of growth hormone towards the end there, and very little. Basically like a medicinal dosage of that.
So it's like you had incredible genetics.
Right.
And then it's a little bit more after that.
And a lot of hard work and eating right and all that, for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
How did you nail the timing for you and Bret to both hit the ground at the same time in the 94 Royal Rumble?
Bret tries to credit me. I credit Bret. All I had to do really, it was Bret, the excellence of execution. Because all I had to do was catch him and go backwards over top rope, which is not fun. I didn't do a lot of backwards over the top rope kind of stuff, but I trusted Bret because he had to tuck my head and everything. Because when you go backwards over the top rope, you got to, for safety, tuck your head and everything. So Bret cross-bodied me and took us out. And then, man, he spider monkeyed me, man. He pulled me in, put my head in, and they said Vince didn't normally do this. Vince jumped out of his chair in the back because we walked through it. How we're going to do it, bang, 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 cross-body, out. And Vince goes, try to hit the floor at the same time. We'll touch it up afterwards. So you both hit at the same time. They even did it in slow-mo. What a miracle. And you couldn't tell in the slow motion who hit first. But Bret pulled me in so tight. And the way we hit the apron, me going backwards, then from there to the floor, Bret just got us both like level and even. We both hit it at the exact same time.
Wow.
Yeah, we probably could have done it 1,000 times after that when I got it.
Just perfect timing.
That's when
on
Vince
that
like
one.
jumped out of his chair.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, they nailed it.
What was the original plan? If you've got co-winners of the Royal Rumble, what were they originally planning to do?
There wasn't really, because like even SummerSlam, they go, what a lame finish. You didn't beat Yoko after that big tour. I go, that was never the plan. Vince was such a fan of the Garden. That was his dad's place. That was his place. He always stood at the curtain watching the matches of the Garden to see the response of the crowd towards new talent. The Garden was, don't call it the Mecca for nothing.
Yeah.
And that was Vince's place and his dad's place. So Vince and I had a very good relationship. And he said, if I put the belt on you, it'll be at the Garden at WrestleMania 10. That's going to be a big pay-per-view. And if I do, because I'm not saying you are, and I go, well, I'm not asking you to promise me anything. He goes, well, I'm not. So I was never promised the belt. And if it was going to go on, it was going on WrestleMania 10. He went with Bret, which is a great choice. Bret's a great champion. We had that Yoko and Bret and I were wrestling for a title at WrestleMania 10, but I didn't feel jilted or I'd been lied to at all because they never told me I was going to be the champion. And I always, once again, I'll go up to Eric, said Lex always thought he was the you-know-what. I didn't have a problem with winning or losing, or I always felt no matter what I could, even when I walked out first on the Monday Night Wars and went from WWE, WWF at the time, back, Eric lowballed me and offered me almost nothing. I said, you know what? I'll come in and I'll become a big star for him and he'll take care of me, which Eric did.
Wow.
So I never, once again, what's the old Lex like? I never lacked confidence. That was part of my persona.
You were world champion in WCW, but it feels like there were so many opportunities for you to do it in WWE, but it just didn't happen.
Well, people say that Vince wanted to be the next Hulk Hogan, which also was not Vince's plan. Vince always knew there was only going to be one Hulk Hogan.
Sure.
He always wanted a merchandise selling babyface. Cena became the guy. Mm-hmm. But Vince always knew that the red and yellow and, say your prayers and take your vitamins and all that, pythons, there was only going to be one Hulk Hogan. He didn't want me to be another Hulk Hogan knockoff. He wanted me to be Lex Luger, the babyface. And Vince was actually a very patriotic kind of guy. He wanted me to be the red, white, and blue kind of champion and sell a bunch of merch. He ended up going with Bret as the world champion, but I always felt that if I'd stayed at WB, I was determined that I was going to show that I was going to get another shot at the title someday and be their world champion.
It just feels like
I wanted that win the eagle, man.
That's a beautiful belt.
I was going to go after that. So if I stayed there, and Vince and I were trying to work it out. When I went to Nitro, that was a last-minute thing between Sting and Eric Bischoff that came on a random phone call with Sting because of our friendship, that I wasn't under contract anymore, that we were trying to work it out on a handshake. I was going to stay at WWE. I had no plan on leaving. So.
And that was huge. You walk out on the very first Nitro.
Well, we had no idea, though, right? They kept it a big secret and all that, but we had no idea Nitro and the Monday Night War was going to get so big. When Sting told me we're going to do a Monday Night show, I'm like, good luck with that. Up against Raw, that was my attitude, but okay. WCW was always like a distant second, right?
Yeah.
Kind of at that point.
Yeah.
We try harder, but we're number two, the old car rental ads and stuff back in the day. So, yeah, we didn't know. We had no idea it was going to actually overtake them in ratings and stuff. My gosh, who would have thunk? So I had no idea that moment when I walked out there, they had to actually pull me off the tapes we had already done for the shows for WWE.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was very uncomfortable because of my good relationship with Vince. I couldn't tell him I was going to do it. That was Eric's one stipulation. I went home to my wife. I go, man, Peg, he wants me to leave, but Eric wants me to give no notice. Just show up on Nitro. I go, Vince is going to, I heard rumors that Vince was watching with his wife. And she kind of like, Linda turned to him, never said anything to him, like, if you ever bring that guy back. Because Vince always would forgive and bring guys back when people thought it was impossible. I'm not sure if that's true, but I heard that rumor that Linda was almost like angry with me that because Vince and I had such a good relationship, I didn't even give notice. I walked out on Nitro.
Did you ever hear from Vince again?
Oh yeah, we saw each other at the airport a year later. He shook my hand, smiled, and We were cool.
He just knew it was business.
Yeah, it's business. Yeah,
It's not like you got a phone call that Tuesday going, "What the hell? What are you doing, Lex?"
No, he didn't call me. There was definitely some hurt there and stuff.
Sure.
But I saw him a year later, and we were good.
All right, quick timeout. This episode is brought to you by Blue Chew, and Blue Chew is putting its money where its mouth is. They're giving you a month for free. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the U.S. and prepared and shipped directly to your door. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead and be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And the best part is it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Does it work? Well, find out for yourself with a month free. They've got a special deal going on right now. Try your first month of Blue Chew for free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And a big shout out to Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode.
So if you don't win the title in WWE, what did it mean to win it in WCW?
No, I didn't realize the one I didn't get at SummerSlam. Everybody thought, man, they should have at least put it on you at SummerSlam.
Well, you
After
celebrated
that
like
big
you won it.
build up,
Yeah.
and then put it back on Yoko if they wanted to win it.
Yeah.
Turn it back a week later, even on Nitro, and get heat on Yoko again because he was doing a thing with Taker, which was put the belt back on him, have his run with Taker, then do what you want at WrestleMania 10. But you need to get a result. I get that, but obviously still worked out for me. I had a pretty good career after that. But a lot of people, like the promoter that was with me on the Les Express, he was a Hollywood guy they hired. He goes, "You're not winning the belt at SummerSlam?" I go, "No." He goes, he didn't know wrestling. He goes, "I don't know anything about wrestling." He goes, "Your career's over." I was like, "Well, gee, thanks a lot. I sure hope not." He said, "You don't win that." He goes, "After this build-up," because you're done. So fortunately, I wasn't. The fans gave me a second chance.
What did it mean to win the World Championship in WCW?
That was crazy. They didn't tell me until right before I went to the ring. Because
They didn't tell you the finish?
Back then, the phones, everything, and the internet was hidden. They didn't want anybody to know. Eric Bischoff and Hogan took me aside right before I was almost ready to go to the ring. They go, "Hey, we're switching the belt." "What are we talking about?" "Switching the belt tonight." "On me? With Hogan?" I go, "Hogan's going to put me over on national TV, not like a pay-per-view, just on like a live show on TV." "Well, it's 100th Nitro, because you guys have been left laying for I think he said 63 straight weeks. We need to throw the fans a little bone." He said, "We're going to put the title on you tonight. You're red hot. Because things come out of sinning, but you're there every week and the fans are with you." I was like, wow, because they had me rack all the other NWO guys before that, big show everybody. So "You're red hot, man. We're gonna show them a little bone. Our ultimate goal will be Sting. You're gonna put it back the following week on Hogan at the Sturgis show." I go, "We're gonna put the belt on you tonight." I said, "You got me kidding." And Pee Wee, the referee, thing signaling for the belt, he was looking at me like he was the same as me. We're like, "Really?" I go, "What's the finish?" He goes, "Torture rack." I go, "He's gonna just take the rack, just submit." He goes,
And Hogan didn't put a lot of people over.
"Submit to my finish." He had me kick out of his finish during the match too.
Yeah.
If you notice, he had me kick out of his finish.
Yeah.
The big leg.
Wow.
He put me over big time. We always got along really good. We still do. Hulkster and I. But that was huge. They let Hogan pick who he wanted to work with. He picked me.
Wow.
That was a massive respect from him for me. And we didn't hit it off because I went to nose with him on the Monday thing the first night. I went home and said, "I'm probably going to get fired." My wife goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "I got nose with Hogan. We went to a commercial break." And I go, I broke character and smiled at him. And I had never been around Hogan before. Really, especially in the ring. He looked at me, "Brother." Hogan looked at me and goes, "Wipe that smile off your face or I'll knock it off." I'm like, "We're in commercial break." He goes, "I don't care. Wipe that, you don't ever break character. Just wipe that smile off your face right now. Or I'll knock it off." I tried to chase after him down the hall afterwards. He wouldn't talk to me.
Wow.
I went up to him the next week before he wrestled on TV. I said, "Man, I'm so sorry. That you thought I was being unprofessional." I go, "I knew we were on commercial break," and I go, I was sort of like being a heel, like smirking. I go, you were 100% right, and please accept my apology. And after that, we were totally cool. He accepted my apology. We were always cool with each other.
How were you not part of WWE after WCW got bought out?
I was under contract.
But almost
Part of my
everybody
downfall
else came over.
From the penthouse to the outhouse to the jailhouse. I had too much time and money in my hands, Chris. I had almost 3 years of guaranteed contract left with AOL Time Warner for a lot of money. And Vince couldn't touch me.
But could you not
I would have had to like given up 3 years of guaranteed money.
Could you not have done what Goldberg or Steiner did and come over later on?
Yeah, but after that, everything happened. I got messed up on the wine, women, and song deal, and I had too much time and money on my hands, and got messed up on drugs and alcohol, and at a period where I was a complete train wreck. The tragic passing of Elizabeth, but obviously people go, well, he killed Elizabeth. Well, I didn't kill her, but was I a contributing factor to the lifestyle I was living and her being around me all the time? And she overdosed? Absolutely.
Do you take responsibility?
Absolutely.
For what happened to her?
Sure. There's always collateral damage to lifestyles like that, and she was part of it. So absolutely.
Is it that you were partying
Sadly.
at the level that you were partying at and she's so much smaller than you?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Was that the rock bottom moment for you?
You'd think it was, but that led me to more depression where I felt completely unlovable. I was never going to be able to be a part of wrestling again after that happened. Instead of, hate to admit it, who I was back then, instead of being so grieving over the loss of Liz, I was grieving over what this was going to do to me in my career, almost more so. I hate to admit back then that while I'm done in wrestling and my fitness nutrition quest after wrestling, I was going to be a big fitness nutrition guy. I'd have my own nutrition company and exercise. Well, no one's going to want that from me now. So I went into massive depression, darkness, did more drugs, more alcohol. It wasn't until at that point where I dug such a deep, dark hole. I always thought I could somehow work or be smart enough to get out of it. And I knew I was at the bottom of a pond, man, with no light, and there was no way to the top, and I was drowning in darkness. And that's when I turned to God.
Have you been able to?
I knew there's no way I could get out of this. So go, God, if you're really real, you're gonna have to get me out of this because I'm done.
Have you been able to forgive yourself for that?
Oh, absolutely. As a believer, one of my main mentors, Dr. Frady, was my earthly spiritual dad. He's not with us anymore. Noticed when I first got saved, I'm not a crier, man. My dad taught my brother and I not to be criers, old school. You know, when he'd use the belt on us when we messed up. If we cried too much, my dad would say, "You keep on crying, I'll keep on hitting you." Wow. So, back in the day, if I had one tear come to my face, I was bawling inside. I was kind of raised not to cry, show emotion, and when I got saved, I had a new tender heart. I was a new Christian. I was bawling and crying about everything, and I'm like, man, I'm a mess. I'm like all mushy. I go, what's wrong with me? And he noticed it too, and he goes, Lex, you got to forgive yourself. Because I was looking back at my past, and I had such regret, remorse, and what an awful person I was. And because if you stay in that mode, he goes, you're going to be useless to God's plan and purpose for the kingdom. He goes, He's forgiven you. You've been forgiven in full at the cross. He goes, you're denigrating God if you don't forgive yourself, because He did that for you, because He loves you that much and has a plan and purpose for your life. And if you stay where you're at now, you'll be useless to the kingdom. What kind of witness will you be for Him if you're always in regret and remorse? Because He's forgiven you, got to forgive yourself, else you'll be useless to the kingdom. Man, I needed to hear that. So that really helped me move forward with my life in a positive way from there on out, instead of thinking about all the horrible, bad stuff I did in the past and dwelling once again on that rearview mirror, right? The enemy wants us to look in that rearview mirror all the time and bring it up and remind us of what mistakes we've made and what we've done wrong, what we've done bad. He wants us to live in that so that we can't move forward with our lives where I believe God wants us to go.
There's still a lot of fans that hold that against you.
No doubt. And I totally understand. And I do. Yeah. Where's your grace and forgiveness? And a lot of people make mistakes in life. I get it. She was a beloved character, Liz, and I'll always be tied as part of what happened with her. And I get that I have haters out there. I understand. I understand where they're coming from. I get it.
With all of that happened in that phase of your life, what was your relationship like with WWE?
You know what? Vince called and asked me if I was doing okay. And a lot of people checked up on me.
This is after Elizabeth?
Yeah. Showed me some love. I didn't feel very lovable, but a lot of the guys checked in with me to see if I was okay. Sting, of course, most of all. He never gave up on me, man. He always held out that. He was kind of my rock when I was at my lowest. He'd call me and leave voice message. He knew I wouldn't answer the phone. I was in such a dark place, I wouldn't even answer the phone to my friends or family. I was so depressed about myself, me, myself, and I. People ask, what's the difference? I go, well, now I have the JOY formula in my life, the acronym. I go, what's the JOY formula? J-O-Y. Jesus, others, and then you. Back then it was me, myself, and I. When I was so focused on myself, I go, I was in a dark place. A really dark place. I was so obsessed with me, myself, and I. So that shift away from ourselves, like people say, when you're depressed, even as a believer, we get depressed too. How do you do that? Think of something to be thankful for. Think of what can I do to help somebody else. You talk about DDP. DDP thrives on helping other people.
Yes.
It's hard to be depressed, man. It's positively Page. It's hard to be depressed if you're thinking, what can I do to help somebody else? Instead of obsessing on myself.
Yeah.
Right?
What's your relationship with WWE now?
Awesome. I'm in a Legends program.
So you're officially on the Legends deal?
I've been in the Legends program for people don't know, over 10 years now.
Yeah, I don't think people know that.
I'm into my third 5 year now.
Congratulations.
Quietly. Yeah.
I think it's
a great program. They put us to 2K games, action figures. You go to signings and stuff, people line up with like travel luggage, rollaways, and wagons. And they still bring out new action figures at Walmart and Target and all that. Pops.
Yes.
All this stuff on us. It's crazy. And the guys from our generation buy that and they bring their sons up. They watch the new generation at the signings that we do at like WrestleMania. They have us come in, do all the fan interactive stuff, and they line up with all our merch, they call it, our figures, have you sign them. I have guys, I was in UK this past weekend. I had a guy come up to me, a couple guys crying. They had posters on their wall or something of me they wanted me to sign. They kept all these years and they have it like all wrapped up and protected. They bring it out. I've had this up on my wall since I was a little kid. They're like 40-something years old now. And they go, I want you to sign this for me because you and Sting were like father figures for me. When I was young, I didn't have a dad. And they start crying at the table, man. These big, like, guys. When I was in jail, at one of my lowest, I had a tattooed up big jail guard start crying because he said my grandfather, who was like my father because I never had a father. He goes, you were his favorite. He started sharing, he started crying. So that made me start thinking, these wrestling fans are special. First time I got around wrestling fans
you're in jail at this point. It's the lowest moment and people are telling you how great you are.
I didn't get it yet. I wasn't a believer yet. Pastor Steve, who led me to the Lord, still a huge part of my life. Pastor Steve, the jail chaplain that led me to the Lord in a hotel room, April 23rd of 2006. Before that, he used to try to do relational testing. He knew if he tried to share the gospel with me right away, I was like an atheist/agnostic. I'd give him the Heisman, like, save it, don't give me that religious stuff. Because when Sting got saved back in 98, I thought I'd lost my best friend. I was so mad at him. Because he didn't want to do what I wanted. He didn't want to go clubbing anymore. He didn't want to go womanizing anymore. He didn't want to drink or do any drugs. He went the whole other direction. I thought I'd lost my best friend. The only time in our friendship there was on my part, a wedge. I was angry with him. I thought he'd become like a religious fanatic. I didn't understand it. Didn't grow up with religion in my life. So I was like an atheist/agnostic. And so Pastor Steve knew God gave him the discernment through the Holy Spirit, I believe, not to try to share the gospel. When I met him in jail, he used to sneak me peanut butters and stuff. He was a jail chaplain. I go, this guy, this religious guy, he ain't so bad. Because I was starving in there. I still was the big Lex, right?
Yeah.
On 2,000 jail calories a day. Bread and peanut butter, right? I was like, so that's why I saw I was in the penthouse, the outhouse, the jailhouse. I go, I've been through it all. I go, my roller coaster life. And so he used to stick me peanut butter as soon as I got to liking him. He didn't talk any religion with me. Talk sports and about his life a little bit and stuff like that. And he tracked me down when we got out. And he wanted me to train him in the gym. I go, the old Lex, I'm still the old Lex, right? I'm like, you want me to train you? I go, I'm not a personal trainer. I'm Lex Luger. I don't train people. You think I'm a trainer? I'm Lex. Total package. So he showed up at a gym. I didn't tell him where I was at. He tracked me out every gym in Atlanta, Atlanta's got a lot of gyms.
Yeah.
I was coming out with my drug dealer to do a buy. I bump into Pastor Steve. He goes, Lex, remember I wanted you to train me? I was like, sure, why don't you just go ahead and show up? Jim, I'd have him do lunges and squats. I was going to make him so sore, the elliptical, because he hadn't worked out. He was a high school athlete, but he was out of shape. I couldn't chase him off. He would take me to Walmart on the way to have lunch together afterwards all the time. He asked me to go in. My point is, I'm like, I'm good. If I asked you, Lex, how can you never come to Walmart with me? I go, I don't do Walmart, Steve. That's where poor people shop. Wow. That's who I was. I've never been in a Walmart, Steve. That's where poor people shop. I love Walmart now. Target. But he took me, finally, I said, all right, I'll go in with you. Man, after all that happened with Elizabeth, everything, those fans made me feel loved when I felt totally unlovable at that point. They lavished me with, so good to see you, Lex. See you out again. I got sworn in that Walmart by wrestling fans. That's where our peeps are, man. Walmarts, And Steve had the discernment. God gave him the discernment to know that. So that was a big part of me, of me realizing, well, maybe my life's not over,
So if you've got a great relationship with WWE, you're on your third Legends deal, how are you not in the Hall of Fame yet?
Well, people say that. Good things come to those who wait. Always hopeful. If not, I still feel I had a great career. There's a lot of deserving guys other than me who still aren't in as well. So, yeah, it would be a huge honor, though, if and when it happens.
I feel like it's right around the corner, especially with the new regime here. Is it the falling out with Vince? Is that why you weren't in earlier?
I don't know what criteria they do, because there's a lot of other guys, too, that should have been in. So
sure.
I don't know if it was me personally or anything with Vince at all. I'm not sure about that. Only they can answer that.
But there was a point in time when you didn't have a great relationship with WWE, and now you do. Mm-hmm. What changed?
I think they waited and saw that I think they observed that I was a different guy now. And I felt that they learned to maybe trust who I was. That just wasn't some temporary thing, that this is the new Lex, and this is the direction he's headed with his life. So I'm thankful. They've been a real blessing to me in every way, including financially. They give me the merch out, and you send the guys call it mailbox money.
Yeah. Is it monthly, quarterly?
Quarterly, yeah.
What makes the most money? Is it being in a video game? Is it an action figure? Is it a T-shirt?
All combined, all of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, wow. So I'm very thankful for them welcoming me back into the family and make me part of WWE. Obviously, the Hall of Fame would be the cherry on top, the whipped cream and cherry on top for sure. If I never get in the Hall of Fame, I feel like I had a great career. That won't change it, but it would obviously be a huge honor to be like definitely the creme de la creme for sure.
It just feels like
no doubt.
It just feels long overdue. Former world champion, former Royal Rumble winner, the career that you had, the characters that you played, the moments that you created. And it's been, 20 years since you wrestled a match?
It is,
It's long overdue.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that.
What's your outlook on life now? It's changed a lot. We've talked a lot about who you were and also who you are now. What's your outlook on life now?
Man, I'm just loving life, Chris. Man, I wake up every day and I thank God for the breath in my lungs and the beat of my heart. I do my devotionals and spend my time with him first, give my utmost for his highest. One of my favorite devotionals in the morning by Oswald Chambers. And I dedicate the day to him. And man, I'm out the door, man, roaring to the gym and doing stuff. And I'm just dialing every day. I love it. I'm loving life. And and thinking what I can do to help other people. And it's very rewarding. I'm very thankful.
There may be a lot of people watching this or listening to this that are at their lowest point.
Yeah.
What do you say to them? How can they get out of that, get to where you're at now?
Don't ever give up, man. There's always hope. I tell people, hang on to something. Find something in your life you can be thankful for. Hang on to that strand and don't ever give up hope. Because I go, if there's hope for me, where I was at dark, but there's hope for you, for sure.
What about someone who may have had the same diagnosis as you, someone who was told that they couldn't walk again or they couldn't move their limbs again? Well, what do you say to them? Let's
focus on what we can do. Even if I was paralyzed from neck down, hadn't got the kind of function that I have, I'm a very high functioning quadriplegic. I'm very thankful for. I'm rare. But even if I hadn't done that, I was still, if I could have moved my head and shoulders, they got things they can give you to help you have a better quality of life. Focus on what you can do, what you still can enjoy, and what you can still accomplish. I have young men that I still work with and mentor from Shepherd that can only move their head, and they have to use a blow thing for everything. But they're creative. They write. They try to do artwork and stuff on computers with their mouth. And I mean, they're working on what they got.
When did you realize it was possible? Like, you could only move your head for a little while, right? Yeah. Could you barely move a finger or barely move a toe?
Yeah, I was totally paralyzed other than my head and shoulders. Yeah.
What was the first thing that shifted? What was the first thing that?
My right index finger. It was the first thing that moved below the neck. Yeah. It's like, ooh. Was that just a twitch or was that real? Then my one toe started moving a little bit. So it didn't happen all at once. It started coming back slowly over a period of months. I started getting some function. Oh, you might be getting a little function there, kid. Wasn't a kid, but so Dr. Bilski said, hey, kid, you're getting a little function there. Let's see where that goes. They say usually in the first 2 years after spinal cord injuries like that, you're going to get pretty much the level of function you're capable of, either none or some, or in my case, quite a bit, fortunately, which feel very blessed for that. But yeah.
Where are you at with DDP now? You were filming some things behind the scenes here?
Steve and the team with DDPY he's got an army.
He does.
I was in the UK as bad, and he had all kind of DDPY people coming up. He's got a global army.
Yes.
Of followers that he's helping.
Well, how can you not How can you not love Dallas?
No doubt, man.
He's the best.
That energy, right? That positive energy.
It's the best.
I say, Dallas, you're the ultimate front man.
Seriously.
I go, Steve's your guy, but you're the ultimate. Puts all these great. Steve, you his partner, puts all these great. Like he's like a cinematographer. Puts all this great butterbean.
He set up these shots here.
Yeah, puts all this stuff together at studio here that we're at right now.
Yeah,
so like a world class studio they have here. But Dallas you're the ultimate front man. So yeah, I love it, man. I love what he's, and I'm so happy for him. He built this brand new house on the beach, and he got like emotional. I go, man, Dallas, I am so happy you got this beautiful place. You and your beautiful wife Paige built on the beach, and he got like emotional with gratitude about it. So man, I love that. I love this guy. I love D.
Yeah, I love that guy too.
Absolutely.
He's one of a kind.
He is, man.
I know that it's a big part of your life. It's a big part of mine as well. Just gratitude is the center of my life. And I want to thank you for this conversation.
Attitude of gratitude, right?
I love it.
Gets rid of that negative stuff right away.
Yeah, when you focus on the things you have rather than focusing on the things you don't have, it changes everything.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for this. I can't believe it took this long for us to do a conversation.
It's awesome, man. Thank you.
And I'm going to end this with the question I ask everybody, because gratitude is so important to me. What are 3 things, Lex, that you're grateful for as you sit here right now?
The good Lord and my friends and my family. Yeah, definitely him first, and then my family and my friends that God has placed in my life. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by incredible people. Yeah.
And this conversation has acted as the best teaser for whatever is next. I don't know what it is, but whatever's next, we're all tuned in.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it, man, for having me on. This is a thrill being with you. Thank you.
No, thank you.